Hello, and welcome to Pontifex Jr.'s Top 10 Games of 2011. It has undeniably been an amazing year to be a gamer, and while regrettably, I didn't have the time or money to play every major release this year, I thought it would be fun to make a short countdown of my 10 favorite games of the year. Before we get started, I'd like to give a couple of honorable mentions to games that were good, but didn't quite make the cut. Honorable mention number 1, Rayman Origins. Rayman, the least likable character in video games, made his glorious return to our consoles this year with the incredible Rayman Origins. With tight controls, great level design, and some of the most beautiful graphics I've ever seen, you may be wondering why the game didn't make it onto the list. One simple reason: the sound design. The music, while catchy, is for the most part horribly annoying, and all of the dialogue is in Igpe Atenlay, and believe me, that Etske Olde Astfay. Honorable mention number 2, L.A. Noire. Forget for a moment about the controversy regarding Team Bondi's treatment of their employees. What we have here is a game unlike anything I've ever played. In a faithful open-world representation of 1950s Los Angeles, we follow the rise and fall of LAPD officer Cole Phillips, from beat cop to homicide detective and beyond. Of course, L.A. Noire's biggest claim to fame was the face-mapping technology used to capture actors' performances and translate them directly into the game, leading to the interrogation-style gameplay, in which Cole must read his witnesses to determine whether or not they're telling the truth. Sadly, all of the different gameplay styles don't quite mesh together perfectly, so this one doesn't make the list. So now, without any further ado, let's move on to the list proper. Number 10, Sonic Generations. Finally, after years of painful waiting, Sonic fans have gotten the game they wanted all along. Expertly presenting the 2D gameplay of classic Sonic games, and updating the 3D gameplay which has been slowly refined since the first Sonic adventure, Sonic Generations is something for anyone who has ever enjoyed a Sonic game. Naturally, however, no Sonic game is complete without plenty of glitches to mar the experience. But while minor control glitches do hold the game back, its incredible soundtrack launches it forward at supersonic speeds. With a mix of classic Sonic tunes and excellent remixes, it really is a treat for the ears. Seriously. Number 9, Super Mario 3D Land. Super Mario 3D Land is the first game on the 3DS that actually makes clever use of the 3D, with arrangements of blocks that seem impassable in 2D miraculously opening up as the 3D slider is adjusted. Gimmicks aside, however, this is a combination of Super Mario Bros. 3 and Super Mario Galaxy, with stages occupying a linear 3D space as you race towards the flagpole. Like the new Super Mario Bros. Series, each stage contains 3 special coins which must be collected in order to open levels further into the game. It is here that the challenge appears in an otherwise fairly simple game. Don't be put off by the initial lack of challenge, however, as once the first 8 worlds have been beaten, further 8 more difficult worlds appear, replete with challenges reminiscent of the Comet Stars in Mario Galaxy. Add to this great graphics, a few interesting power-ups, which do make the game a little too easy, and a sweet soundtrack. You've got all the ingredients for a great Mario game. Number 8, Shadows of the Damned. When Garcia Hotspur's girlfriend Paula is kidnapped by the Demon Lord of the Underworld, he doesn't take it lying down. He grabs his hot boner and rides his motorbike right to the gates of hell to get her back. And if that doesn't sound like the setup to the best game ever, then there's something wrong with you. The latest game from the fertile mind of Goichi Suda, creator of No More Heroes and Killer 7, Shadows of the Damned is an amazing third-person shooter in the same vein as Resident Evil 4. In fact, it was made in conjunction with Resident Evil creator Shinji Mikami, and his eye for action is very clear throughout the game. In fact, it plays like I feel Resident Evil 5 should have. So, take a game that improves in almost every way on Resident Evil 4, slap on sound design from Silent Hill maestro Akira Yamaoka, and what have you got? One of the best games of 2011. Now, I'm aware that not a lot of people bought this. It had pretty poor sales. Most Grasshopper games do, which I think is a shame because, at the very least, they're all interesting. So if you haven't played this, I thoroughly recommend it. Number 7, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Okay, confession time. Aside from Super Smash Bros., which I am ungodly good at, my first foray into fighting games was with Super Street Fighter 2 HD Remix on Xbox Live Arcade. It was love at first play, I played it every day with my buddy, and when Street Fighter 4 came out, we were both really excited. I didn't like it. He loved it and went on to become one of the best players in the country, but this isn't about his salty ass. This is about me. I mean, this is about the games. When Marvel vs. Capcom 2 came out on Xbox Live Arcade, I picked it up straight away, and disliked it immediately. Too many characters who just weren't worth playing. When Marvel vs. Capcom 3 came out, I picked it up with some apprehension and loved the ever-loving Hulk out of it. Again, I played it almost every day despite the terrible online. I even got good enough to win a tournament at my local gaming and anime convention. I even beat Benzai from that guy with the glasses. Naturally, like everyone else, I was a little apprehensive when Capcom announced a disc-only upgrade just a few months after the original release, but when I saw who they were adding to the roster, I went straight away into eagerly awaiting mode. Needless to say, with its expanded roster and improved online play, this is the definitive version, hands down. Number 6. The Elder Scrolls V, Skyrim. Only number 6? Sacrilege! Do sit down, dear. You'll hurt yourself. At its current stage, Skyrim is rather glitchy. The PS3 version is inexcusably broken, and they haven't released a construction kit for PC gamers to fix the game yet. In spite of these problems, and the less said about arrows and knees the better, the game is the very forefront of open world design, with endless caves to explore, hundreds of quests to engage in, and countless mighty dragons to fire arrows at while you wait for them to land so you can hit them a couple of times until they fly away again. There is an immense amount to see and do in the land of Skyrim. Add to this some noticeable improvements to the Gamebryo engine, and you've got the making of a great, no, an amazing game. Once the mods start rolling in, this will probably be the most fun you can have on a PC. With your pants on, at least. Number 5. Mario Kart 7. Now, I have some extensive experience with this series, from the highs of the Super Nintendo original to the relative lows of the Wii version, and I can safely say that this is my absolute favourite. The track design, handled by Metroid Prime developers Retro Studios, is nothing short of magnificent, and even the item balance is almost right. Throw in a limited but fun kart customization system, and it also becomes one of the most versatile. Always wanted to play as Bowser, but don't like having low acceleration? Well, don't worry about it. Just use the right set of wheels and away you go. The selection of retro tracks is pretty much bang on target as well, despite some unusually dull selections like Luigi's Circuit from the N64 game. The main criticism of this game, well, series stalwart the Blue Shell notwithstanding, is some odd new additions to the roster, ranging from the very good, Wriggler, to the very bad, Honeycomb, and somewhere in between, Metal Mario, as well as the noticeable lack of, by now series regular, Waluigi. But in spite of these few minor niggles, I can easily see this being my go-to game for local multiplayer for years to come. Number 4. Uncharted 3, Drake's Deception. The Uncharted series has gone from strength to strength since its inception, and this third outing for Nathan Drake and company is no exception. Spinning a yarn that takes us everywhere from a crumbling chateau in eastern France to the middle of an African desert, the game moves from thrilling set piece to thrilling set piece faster than you can catch your breath. A general improvement over the occasionally repetitive nature of the last two games. Uncharted 3 is much better at disguising the fact that you spend almost all of your time climbing and shooting, usually by having the world collapsing beneath your feet, or having you flee from some horror or another. This is definitely not a game for arachnophobes. But somewhere in between all of this, Naughty Dog has found the time to fit in a great story and script that explores the relationship between Drake and his mentor/best friend, Victor Sullivan. In a world without Indiana Jones, Naughty Dog are filling the gap admirably. So Golden Abyss is probably going to have aliens in it, right? Number 3. Gears of War 3. Brothers to the end. These ominous words at the end of that first trailer all but confirmed what many fans of the series had feared since the second one. Now I won't spoil it here, but for a huge fan of the Gears of War series, and someone who has pored over the fantastic novels by Karen Travis, this game contains one of the single most touching and sad moments in video gaming, for me personally. And with that said, it's also a fantastic third-person shooter that retains the intense cover-based action and hilarious character one-liners the series is known for. Combine this with an excellent multiplayer that improves on the second game's offering, to the point that you'd almost doubt they had the same developer, and you're onto a winner. This is not only one of my favorite games of the year, it's my favorite multiplayer game of the year, hands down. The script, written by Karen Traviss, author of the novels, is fantastic, and it deals with a lot while still leaving some questions unanswered. Will there be a Gears of War 4? No. But People Can Fly, the creators of Bulletstorm, are working on a prequel game, supposedly. So maybe we'll get some answers there. Number 2. The Legend of Groose, Skyward Groosinator. The touching tale of a young man's attempt to save the girl he loves from the clutches of an ancient evil turns into the year's most epic adventure. Our hero Groose embarks on a terrifying descent to the mythical surface world, where he discovers his true purpose in life and becomes a real man who'll do anything to help his friends. Chief among these friends is a dweeby kid called Link or something, who has to help Groose defeat the ancient evil and his totally weird assistant, Girahim. What follows is an incredible adventure through the land of Hyrule. Honestly though, this would have been number 1, easily, if it weren't for the occasional moment of frustration with the motion controls and the obnoxious tasks that take place later in the game, like a certain escort mission, or hunting for tadpoles. Nothing bad per se, just boring, and there really is no place for boredom in any game starring the incredible, hunky, cool, and super smart Groose! Number 1. Batman Arkham City. Now this is not only the best game of 2011, in my opinion, but also the best superhero game of all time. Placing you in a small, open-world playground, handing you Batman's utility belt and just saying, have fun. This is in fact one of the best games I've ever played. The plot features almost every Batman villain who didn't make an appearance in 2009's Arkham Asylum, and even some who did. From Mark Hamill's incredible Joker to Mr. Freeze's distressingly cold demeanor, every character is presented impeccably, as befits the startlingly authentic slice of Gotham in which the game takes place. With Dr. Hugo Strange knowing Batman's secret identity, a deadly blood infection on the loose, and a conspiracy to take over the entire world, the plot is absolutely non-stop, and moving around the city is an absolute joy to experience. Forget Spider-Man 2's swinging mechanic. This is how being a superhero should feel. And whether you choose to test your wits against the Riddler, or track a deadly serial killer, there's no shortage of side quests to engage in either, not to mention the opportunity to play the svelte Selena Kyle, aka Catwoman. Now, there's no such thing as a perfect game, but I really do have to rack my brains to come up with a flaw in this one, and the only one I've got is that there's just not enough game. I eagerly await Rocksteady's next project, because this will be a seriously hard act to follow. Well, that's the list. Naturally, I'm sure you disagree. Well, feel free to express your dissent in the comments section. After all, that's what it's for. Just try to keep it civil. Oh, and here's a bonus for sticking around. Disappointment of the Year, Dragon Ball Z Ultimate Tenkaichi. It's rock, paper, scissors the game. That's about it. Thanks for watching.